Hey, everybody. We are live at Yep, everything's good. Working right. Oh, I've been busy today with some of these videos. Um, this video is regarding many people have asked me, and not just me, but I think thousands of people have this question for years. Did NASA really land on the moon? Was it the Apollo, I believe they launched? Did the Apollo really reach the moon? I believe they supposedly landed on the moon like a couple different three or four different times. I think we all know the famous one though, where they were dancing around and pretending to play golf on the moon. We all know that one. That's the one that I'm wondering about. Neil Armstrong, did Buzz, did those guys really reach the moon, and was they really jumping up and down, partying, celebrating the landing? um, well, I don't really think there's any evidence that proves that they did land on the moon. However, is there any evidence that proves they did not land on the moon? I believe some um, different scientists and people that major in science in that realm, I believe, have broke down the physical proof that the gravity would not have been as good as it was for those guys on the moon. I believe they said that um, the way their body was moving around on the moon, dancing, hopping up and down. I think they said that that would not be very consistent with a real moon landing, according to how much gravity there should be at that altitude. Um, my guess is the moon landing's probably, if I had to like say yes or no, I would probably say no. It's a false flag. It probably did not happen. Um, I know the United States was going through a lot of pressure in the 1960s to compete with Russia, because Russia was like really advanced. They were like, I think they were trying to go to the moon first. And I'm not sure if they actually ever did, but they were trying to. And we were competing, us as in the United States, we were competing with Russia to get on the moon first and to prove, I guess, superiority, that we're better than them. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, in the 1960s, they barely had color television. Um, there was no cell phones, no internet. Cars were pretty good, obviously, but not like what they are today. And yet, nowadays, in the year 2022, so we're talking, they landed on the moon in 69. That's what, 53 years ago? Over half a century ago. 53 years. And yet, we don't do anything like that anymore. Nowadays, we never do moon missions. And they say, NASA says, um, it's too dangerous or something. But I mean, could that just be their way of saying, hey, we can't really do it? We faked one moon landing, or at least a couple moon landings. We can't do another one. So it just, I don't know, it makes me wonder. Curiosity makes me wonder whether the moon landing ever really happened, or was it like all shot inside of a Hollywood studio? Who knows? Um, Earlier, I discussed whether Mars is real or not, and whether we've actually sent rovers to Mars, or whether it's all fake. I mentioned about Devon Island up in Canada, which looks just like the photos they sent us of Mars. Devon Island looks a lot like Mars. Um, this is probably going to be a short video today on this topic, but let me know what your opinion is on the moon landing, or landings, plural, back in the 60s. If you think it really took place, do you think there's a little bit of trickery with the camera going on? Special effects? Were they really on the moon? Were they inside a studio? What were they doing? I mean, like, I'd be really curious to know. A lot of people believe it's fake, but also a lot of people believe it's real. So, like, the moon landing theory, whether it's real or fake theory, is a tough one, because probably millions, maybe even billions of people would say it's real. And then there's also, though, millions of people that would say it's not real. It was all a hoax, the landing on the moon. Um, you guys, any of you guys that watch my channel, and I appreciate the few of you that have subbed and supported this channel early on. If you guys have any questions on this or opinions, maybe state your own opinion on what you think of the moon landing. I know this is an old subject. I mean, we're talking, this is over a 50+ year subject. So it's not like this just happened yesterday. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. I personally would have to lean towards, and I'm just using logic, common sense, thinking about the 1960s, the lack of technology that we had back in those days. I mean, you're talking, that was like, I was born in 86. So the moon landing would have been about almost 20 years before I was born. And back then, if you just had an old black and white television set in your living room, you were doing pretty good back in those days. Like I said, no cell phones, none of that. But yet they were able to somehow travel, what is it? I think like a couple 100,000 miles, something like that, to the moon. It's a pretty long ways. I mean, it's not as far, obviously, as Mars, or some of these other planets, but it's still like, I think, a couple 100,000 miles we're talking. I mean, that's like almost 250,000 miles away. And in the 60s, they were able to do that. I don't know. Just, I'm skeptical of it. I'm not saying I know for a fact that it's fake, the moon landing. I can't say for sure. But it seemed like, for being so long ago in the 60s and having the lack of technology back in those days, it seems like today, in the year 2022, we should be doing way bigger, cooler things than that. And we're not. We still don't go, we still don't even go to the moon today in the year 2022. I think we've sent some rovers, those automated cameras, up to the moon in recent memory, but we don't go up there anymore. We don't send men up there anymore. And we also, still to this day, don't seem to have a whole lot of new information even on Mars. I know we send rovers there, and they've talked about sending men to Mars, but we still have yet to do any of that stuff. And it's the year 2022. So if we're not even able to do this kind of stuff today, things like that, how in the heck were we able to go to the moon in 1969 with the lack of technology and resources? We had lack of resources back then. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to turn this into just me rambling about whether the moon landing was real or not, because anybody could sit down and do this. It doesn't take an expert to sit down and say, was it real or was it fake? Because that's basically all I'm kind of doing here. But if I had to make an educated guess, I think the final answer I would give, if someone asked me right now whether it's real or fake, the moon landing, I think I would say fake. And I know if a lot of people see this, they're going to probably chew me out and yell at me over it. But I just don't see how we could have had enough technology in the 60s to actually be able to pull something like that off. And it just seems strange that we did it right in the nick of time when we were competing against Russia, to prove who had better technology. And then miraculously, we land on the moon right around that same time when Russia was trying to do the same thing. It just seems like, I don't know. It just seems too coincidental, and the timing of it just seems too perfect that we were able to pull that off. And yet nowadays, like I just said a little bit ago, we don't even do anything like that anymore. Nowadays, by now, we should be so advanced that we could go back and forth from Mars to Earth, and Mars is what? I don't even know, millions of miles away. But with our technology, we should be able to do that. And yet we don't even explore the moon anymore. So I don't know. Guys, let me know in the comment section what you think. Am I crazy? Am I overlooking or overthinking a historic moment in American history, or am I right on the money? You guys let me know. You guys have a great day. Peace. God bless. Take care.